Hello, my name's Robert Sloan. I'm president of Houston Baptist University. Welcome to this series of Bible studies on a topic that I think is very relevant in these days to people all over the world. I say that because we are experiencing what I would call a very human problem, and that is because of the COVID virus, because of the economic lockdown that's occurred in countries all over the world, certainly within the United States. There is a lot of stress and distress. There's anxiety. We are, all of us, worried about the circumstances in which we live. We are looking for solutions. We are trying to find answers. I know of parents who are rightly worried about the upcoming school year, about the educational experience for their children. We want to get our children back in school. Of course, we want that to be done safely. And then, of course, there's the economic and business distress that's everywhere. Namely, will businesses survive and when can they become fully functioning again? There are certain industries that have done well during this time of the pandemic, but there are also industries, oil and gas and the restaurant business and the entertainment business and the airline business. There are many businesses that have suffered enormously in these days, and it has a ripple effect of stress upon all of us. I know also there's emotional stress. Along with economic stress, there's emotional stress. Family worries create private emotional concerns. Emotional and spiritual and mental health come into play. So all of us are experiencing a level, I think, of distress and anxiety and worry and concern that is not typical on such a widespread scale. I want to see if we can find something, if we can find some solutions or some secrets or some answers, at least partly to these times of distress and the stresses that we are under. I use that expression to find something deliberately because it's really common to human experience that in times of trouble we begin to look for answers. Sometimes we look for answers in the wrong places, in places that just provide quick fixes, maybe passing moments of pleasure or passing moments of a kind of physical or emotional release, but they don't have any lasting or sustaining value. I'm reminded of the great American novel, The Moviegoer. Here you find a young businessman who is searching for meaning. He doesn't find meaning in the casual encounters that he has. He doesn't find meaning in the routines of his job and his business experience. And so he decides to go on a mission. But the point is, he's looking for something. It's a search for meaning. It's the expression that I've heard many times used by sports analysts. I've heard them say this sort of thing when, say, in baseball, a hitter goes through a prolonged slump, and typically great hitter suddenly, as we say, can't hit the broadside of a barn and can't seem to buy a hit and is not being successful. And what does the hitter begin to do? Well, he begins to consult with his hitting coach and his teammates. He begins to look at video, and he's quote, looking for something. Is he standing at the plate in a different way? Has he changed his stance? Is there a hitch in his swing that he hasn't had before? Is there something different? He's looking for something. I've heard analysts say that a lot about golfers. A golfer who is normally successful and then suddenly can't hit the fairway anymore and seems to have lost his swing and has had several rounds or maybe several tournaments of playing not very good golf. I've heard the expression, yeah, he's had a bad day here on Thursday at the opening day of this tournament, and he's out there on the driving range right now looking for something. That's the kind of experience I think we have at a much more profound level. We find ourselves looking for something, a secret perhaps. The Bible talks about mysteries and secrets. I came across this recently, and it fixed my attention, and it's really what started this entire series percolating in my mind. It was a passage out of Philippians 4, where Paul is physically suffering. He's in prison. He's hungry. He sometimes has enough to eat because his friends have sent him some money and he's able to purchase food. But often he is hungry and he is in need and he's suffering physically. And then, as he said in another letter, there is the constant pressure upon him of concern for the churches. He's worried. He's separated from his friends. And one of the things he longs for in the book of Philippians is to be released from prison so that he can go and minister to the Philippians, because he believes that will be to their benefit. But he says, and he uses a very unusual word, he says, thank you for the money that you've sent. It's a good thing that you've done it. I appreciate it. It will accrue to your account. And he says you've done well to do that. But he says in the process of sometimes having plenty and a lot of times not having enough, he says, I've learned the secret of being filled or of going hungry. And he uses the word secret, that is a certain Greek term that is used nowhere else in all of Scripture. Now, the idea of a secret thing is found broadly in Scripture, but it caught my attention because it's a word that has to do with initiation into a mystery cult. You know, the mystery cults of the ancient world, and Paul certainly had to do battle with those in his missionary preaching and travels. The mystery cults had secret ceremonies, secret services, maybe certain secret symbols and so on, and you can't tell these. And when you are initiated into the cult, you learn the secrets. That's the word that Paul uses there. He has learned the secret. It's as if he has been initiated into a certain level of knowledge that maybe was heretofore unknown to him. Now, of course, the wonderful thing about the things that are hidden and secret, the mysteries of Scripture, is that they are always to be revealed. Now, the mystery cults, Gnosticism, the ancient hidden clubs and organizations, in many instances you would disclose those secrets on peril of death. But for Paul, when he uses the word mystery, invariably he talks about revelation. When he uses things hidden, he refers to things now being disclosed. When he refers to darkness, then he prays that, for example, the Ephesians would have the eyes of their hearts enlightened. So the Bible uses these ideas of mystery and secrets and puzzles, but always set over against that. There's even Hebrew terms for that, ratz pesher, puzzle solution. The Bible always puts alongside that the disclosure, the revelation, the solution, the openness of what God is trying to say to us. So I think there are some secrets in Scripture, and these are the things I want us to look at. In times of stress, we find ourselves looking for something. We need to know these secrets that are now disclosed. The interesting thing is that suffering actually makes us more aware of the need that we have for certain things, particularly the wisdom and presence of God. We always need that, but sometimes our times of flourishing, our times of happiness, our times of fulfillment cause us to forget that we always are needy and we are always in need of the presence of God. So I want you to join with me in this study. There are going to be quite a few of these secrets. I've tried to comb the Scriptures. I've even sent out a survey to trusted Christian friends, and I've asked them, tell me about some breakthrough moment in your life, sometime when you had an insight or an experience or some moment that you learned something that accelerated your Christian growth, some breakthrough, insightful moment. And I've gotten many wonderful responses, and those have supplemented in a wonderful way my own study of the Scriptures. So for this moment, I simply want to lay out the introduction, that there are wonderful secrets that we may know, I want to invite you to join me in this series, and I want you to know, and this is going to be the first thing that I'm going to come back and talk about in our very next brief session together. These will always be just a few minutes. In our next session together, I want to talk about the approach that we have to take during times of stress. How is it that when we experience stress, what is the first thing we have to do as an approach to experiencing God's way, God's wisdom, and God's presence? Thank you.